So tell us about the Rose Society coming out October 13th.
Sure. Well, the Rose Society is the sequel to the Young Elites. It continues the main character's journey into becoming a villain. Like, the entire series is about this girl named Adelina, who's essentially the teen female version of Darth Vader. And so book 2 is essentially her getting revenge on all of the people that have done her wrong in life. So it's kind of like the equivalent of Empire Strikes Back, you know? It's very much the darkest of the 3 books. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
And so I'm assuming, were you inspired by Star Wars?
A little bit, yeah. It was definitely Darth Vader was a huge inspiration for it. I've always been a fan of villains in superhero and supervillain movies. I love Loki and Magneto and Darth Vader, of course. So I think their stories are really interesting, and I wanted to write something similar to that. Yeah.
Now, you just had a signing here at BEA, and you had this huge line, like, wrapped around the Javits Center, and you have this huge poster out front. How does it feel?
It feels really surreal. I just saw the huge banner this morning, and I think I just lost my head over it because it's so big, and it's really amazing to know that readers like the series, and I hope that they continue to like it, and I hope that I keep writing something that people enjoy. Yeah.
What has been your favorite reader reaction so far?
Oh, to the Young Elites?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, it's really interesting to see people reacting to Adelina herself, because she's kind of villainous, and I didn't know how she would come across for a lot of people. But it's been nice to see readers who have come up to me and they're excited and they're like, "Oh, she's so, wicked sometimes." And I'm glad that people, and relieved that people appreciate that about her. Yeah.
Because you seem like such a nice person. Did you do a lot of research into, like, the psychology of evil people, or do you have this, like, other side to you? How did you get into that mindset?
Yes, I have a dark side. I don't know. Like, I read some things about what it's like to be a psychopath or a sociopath, or like what it's like to think outside of what is comfortable. It was very, very unsettling for me to write from Adelina's point of view, since she and I are quite different in a lot of ways. But the most unsettling part is when those moments when I find myself, aligning with her on something. It's like those moments when I'm stuck in traffic, or you're stuck in traffic, and someone cuts in front of you in traffic, and you just want their car to be smashed by, like, a dinosaur or something. And I'm like, oh, in those moments, I'm really glad I don't have superpowers, because I feel like I would do something terrible, Yeah. So, yeah, it comes from a little bit of that as well.
Do you think she's affected you in any way?
It can be hard finishing up her chapters. Like, when I finish being in her head for a while, I have to go and, like, detox myself of Adelina. I have to go and hug my dogs or do something.
I was just gonna say hug a puppy.
Yeah, exactly. Have some cake or some tea or something, because it does affect my mind to be in her mind for so long. Yeah.
And as a final question, do you have any advice for aspiring writers who want to be just like you?
Advice for aspiring writers, I'm always an advocate of writing something bad. Like, you can't be afraid to write something bad in the beginning, because like, when I first started, I would write 50 pages and give up, and write another 50 pages of a new story and give up, and so on, because I wanted it to be perfect, and it wasn't coming out perfect, And then eventually I realized that you can't write something perfect in the beginning, and that's okay. Like, it's more important to actually finish a story before you can, go ahead and make it perfect. So I think the most important thing writers can do in the beginning is to finish stories first. Don't worry if they're great. You have to have something to work with, and then eventually you get better at it, and grow your skills out from there. So yeah, don't be afraid to write something bad.
That's really good advice. Well, thank you so much for speaking with us.
Of course.